Hi guys, my name is Portia. Welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a long time since I made a video. It's been maybe a month or so, but I've been dealing with a lot of stuff in my personal life. Um, so I've been taking time to deal with that and work through that. So I just didn't have time or really the attention to put towards making a video. But I wanted to make a video today really quick to share with you guys that I passed my CCRN and I am so excited. So if you're interested in seeing how I did and how I studied, then stay tuned. Okay, so the last time I made a video for you guys was had to be like maybe the week of August 17th or August 20th, something around there. So during that time, I was in the process of moving from Florida to New York because I was going to do a contract, do travel nursing, do my first contract in Florida. I'm sorry, in New York at NYU. The contract fell through. So I ended up back in Florida. So there's something else I had to deal with, finding work and whatnot. But in the meantime, it's when I was studying for my CCRN. So I was supposed to study for this test. I was supposed to start studying on August the 15th because my test was today, October 15th, and I wanted 2 months to study. I actually did not start studying for this test until, I want to say, maybe the second week of September. So I only studied for this test maybe 5 to 6 weeks. 6 weeks would be like too much. I mean for me, I don't think I went over 6 weeks. I think it was a little bit more than 4 weeks. So somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks whenever, that's how long I studied. But I wasn't working, so I had the time to put into studying. So what I used was the Barron's book. And when I say this book, by the time I took my test today, I knew this book from cover to cover. I knew it from cover to cover. This book, I feel like it's a really good outline for the exam, but their questions I don't like. After each chapter, they have like a little practice test and they had questions. I didn't like those questions. I felt like they were too simple compared to the other questions that I was studying with. So I spent most of my study time on cardio and respiratory, of course, because that was the book of the test. So I spent about a week, just a week alone, on a cardiac chapter. If you are in a CVICU or you are a cardiac nurse, you probably wouldn't need that much time on the heart session. But for me, I want to make sure that I thoroughly understood the section. And then also I spent about a week and a half on cardiac, and then about a week on respiratory. And then after those 2 weeks, I kind of breezed through everything because neuro, I already was comfortable with neuro, so that chapter I kind of just breezed through. And then the rest, I think it passed those first 3 chapters, cardiac, respiratory, and neuro. The rest just really just goes by. It's really just more like, honestly, when I was studying for this exam, I thought about nursing school. Everything in this book reminded me of nursing school. I want to say med-surg 2 or 3. But anyway, so a lot of this stuff was review. And depending on how long you've been out of school, it may be the same thing for you. So for me, when I was reading through this stuff, I'm sorry about that. So when I was reading through everything, studying, I was remembering things from school and also remembering things from patients that I've had in the past. So what I did so I took 2.5 weeks. Okay, sorry. So the the first week and a half was cardiac. So I would study. After each day, I did practice questions, no more than maybe like 20. Because for me, it was important for me to cover the content first before jumping into like answering multiple questions. So I did do the cardiac questions in this book after the first chapter. But that was about it. I really didn't like these questions. But anyway, so I would do each chapter. When I finished each chapter, I would do practice questions. And then once I cover all the material, is when I started doing like practice questions of like 100 a day. I did maybe like 100 a day for like I want to say I studied for 5 weeks. Anyway, I started off doing like 50 questions a day, then I built it up to 100 questions a day. So what I would do is, let's say I cover cardiac and neuro. Let's say I already covered cardiac, I already covered respiratory, and I just finished covering neuro. Then my practice questions are going to consist of all three of those chapters. So it's like as I complete a chapter, and here I build on to the questions. So I was using questions from the Pass CCRN question bank. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that book 1,000 times. I don't have it here with me, but if I remember, I'll put a picture in somewhere. But anyway, that book is like a really, really thick book, but it has really, really good questions, like really in-depth, like critical thinking questions. So those are the questions that I use to practice with. So, and so what I did the week before the test, which was last week, I took 3 days and I went over this entire book all over again. So when I go through it, I just highlight anyway, my first time passing through. And then I went through it all a second time. And to me, that made the greatest difference, because you thought you knew stuff, but I covered cardiac 4 weeks ago. So it's like it reiterates and it makes sure that you have the information down in the brain so you can recall it when time comes. So yeah, so that was that. So this book comes with 3 practice tests. I only did 1. But I was told that's a good indicator to tell how you're gonna do. When I took it, I got 86 questions out of 150 correct. So according to this test, I didn't pass, but I did my practice tests on Pass CCRN. So what I was doing was, I didn't do a full length practice test until I completed the entire book. And so after I completed the entire book, I did a practice test on Pass CCRN. It came out actually pretty good. So after I completed this book, I did practice tests every week. I even did a practice test on Friday. And I make sure I did questions. Even when I was tired of doing questions, I did at least 25 to 50 questions a day. And I did yesterday. Only thing I did was go through. So each chapter has like these charts. So I would bend certain pages that I wanted to go back and review. For example, in the cardiac section, I wanted to go back and review the difference between systolic and diastolic heart failure. And I wanted to review cardiogenic shock. And I wanted to review my values. So just certain things I just went back on yesterday and just reviewed, like charts. No major studying, because it was giving me too much anxiety. So I just went over the charts that I had, I folded the page down, and that was it. I probably reviewed for a study of 2 hours yesterday, if that much. I did a practice test on Friday. I took Saturdays off. And Sunday, I did 100 questions. And that was it. I said to myself, if I didn't know it by yesterday or by Sunday, well, it's too late. So yeah, guys. So I'm excited. I'm happy, thank God, because if you guys remember, I mentioned a few videos ago that I was doing a certification test for neuro nursing. And that one I did not pass. So I was a little discouraged. So I was a little apprehensive going into this test, but I thank God. I thank God that He gave me the the grace and the understanding to pass this test, because I'm going to tell you guys, this is a great outline, but the questions that were asked, like, I mean, I know this may sound crazy, but I feel like they were just different. Like, this material helps you study on what to be aware of, but the questions, how they were asked, and the way and the questions that were asked for me was, I wasn't expecting it. Even the questions on Pass CCRN are very detailed, very, very detailed. But these questions were very vague. And of course, you can always go with, I would always go with either way with the answer choices that they give you. So this book, I think, along with me doing outside research when I didn't understand the topic, and also with the questions that I was doing, helped me to know the material. So what I'm saying is, if you know your material, no matter how the question is asked, you will be able to answer it. As far as cardiac goes, you need to thoroughly understand preload, afterload, stroke volume. You need to thoroughly understand pulmonary artery occlusion pressure and pulmonary artery pressure. You need to know when and why they elevate or they decrease. And I feel like if you know that for cardiac and understand the pumping of the heart and heart failure, and yeah, if you know those things, I think you'll be pretty okay on the cardiac. So pulmonary as well, if you understand ALI, ARDS, and understanding your VQ, I think, you know what, just forget what I said. Just study to know the material and to understand the material. That way, if you understand it, no matter how the question is asked, you'll be able to answer it. Yeah. So I wanted to show you guys my results. So you had to get a passing score of 87. I got a 97. And guess what? I did the best in, you probably would guess, neuro, and I did the best in cardio. I got 20 out of 22 right in cardio. And then my next was pulmonary. I got 15 out of 21 right in pulmonary. So my least one was collaboration, systems thinking, and clinical inquiry. I asked questions about physicians and like if they do something wrong, how you should respond. Okay, so I got only 9 of those out of 12 correct. But the fact that I got cardiac, like I did the best in cardiac, I was like, wow, I really wasn't expecting that, because I'm not a cardiac nurse, but I have always enjoyed cardiac. I just never made that transition, but hopefully with this new job, I will be transitioning to the CCU. So yeah, guys, this video is probably all over the place, and I'm not going to edit it. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and show you guys and tell you guys that I passed the test and how I studied. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. And yeah, like, I'm excited about it. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.